Hey, engineering students. So I want to continue on with this piece 134 that we started last time. And I heard from most of you that you preferred this way of me having the iPad underneath my camera so you can see what I'm pointing on. So I'm going to keep doing that. Let me know how it's working out for you. So we've got our shapes from last time, and I was just actually, this is like the third time I've made this. So I'm going to warn you when we get to a part where I was messing things up here. So let me get this dimension back on here. There we go. And I found this out. You can kind of like twist this. Sometimes it was giving you this dimension, and we want to actually have the radius here. So you can get that. And again, if something isn't exactly like mine, don't worry. We're just practicing these tools here. We're learning how to do things. This isn't something we're actually going to use in an engine, so it doesn't need to fit precisely. So let's take a look at this. I got all my dimensions on here. Now, something that I think is going to make your life easier that you don't have to do according to the instructions, but I'm going to go through and take that construction circle there, and I'm going to, oh, you know what? Let me here unhighlight that dimension. I think, okay, good. It did let me delete it. I think these lines were part of what was giving me issues when I was trying to extrude this. So I'm just going to go through and clean this up. We got all the things in the places we need them. So just to clean up my drawing here, I'm going to do this. You might be fine if you skip this step, but it makes things a little bit cleaner. It lost some of the dimensions because it referenced those lines. It was made on those lines, but it still will be the right size. So let's get on with it here. The next thing we're going to learn to use is the circular pattern tool. So if I wanted to make, you can see our, what we're going for here has 5 copies of this pentagon. Well, I don't want to do that 5 times. So we can grab the circular pattern tool. It's down here. And I'm going to then highlight all the things, all the sides of this pentagon. And if you click away, you can sometimes lose it. I can tell it's working because it's got these things here. Now, it's spinning about the middle because I made the middle of this on the origin. You can see I can move this box around, but I want it to be right there on the origin. So I'm going to leave it. You don't need to move that around, but if you wanted to do something different, you could. Okay, we've got 3 copies and we're supposed to have 5, so I'm going to tap that 3x. And now I'm going to undo. That didn't work out quite right. So undo is your friend. I had some people that were emailed me like they couldn't get this exactly horizontal because something was constrained to something, and they say, how do I remove this other constraint? And honestly, a lot of times it's easier just to delete it and restart it. Like I said, this is my 3rd or 4th time making this shape. So one of the things I tell my students, and they often don't like hearing it, is you get good at making this. Once you screw up and you have to do it again, you get really fast at making these things. Okay, so I got my 5 sides highlighted. I'm going to tap this 3x. I'm going to change that to 5. Hit the check. I got 5 copies. Perfect. All right, I'm going to tap over here. Call that good. Next, we're going to use the linear pattern tool right here. So this can circular pattern follow things around in a circle, just copying it. So linear pattern tool, let's highlight our 6 sides of our pentagon here. And you can see it's making copies this way. So some things to notice. We've got the center point here in this box. We've got this box here. And we've got this box up here. So it defaults by taking your pattern and patterning it to the right and up. Well, I've only got 1 horizontal copy of this. So I'm going to drag this down here, and it's going to change that to 2. So there are some things we could do to line this perfectly straight. Just do your best to get it about lined up there, okay? And then I'm going to grab this one here and drag this over. And I'm going to do my best to keep that horizontal. And then, ta-da, tap. We got 6 copies of it. Now, if we're designing rocket engines and this was a crucial part, I would go through and make sure these are horizontal and all lined up, but we're not doing that. Okay, unselect my pattern tool, and whenever you see it go crazy and highlight a bunch of stuff like that, it's nice to just double tap, and it unselects everything when you double tap. So we're going to grab that pentagon right there, 2-finger tap, delete, and there we go. Just like it asked for, we got 5 of them here. Now this is this triangle that was giving me a ton of trouble. Yours might not look like this, right? Maybe this edge was here. And this is what was causing the problems when I was extruding it, because this creates a really complicated shape here with all these repetitions, the way they get these V's here. So here's what I'm going to have you do. So if you, well, let me go through this here and let's see if this actually extrudes. So we're going to grab our linear pattern tool again, and I'm going to grab 3 sides of this triangle, and you can see it's going that way with it, and we want to overlap here. All right. I'm going to leave this at just 3 copies of this, and there they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They got like 8 of them, and it creates this really complex design. If we are on a computer in a lab with a mouse, it's really easy to click on some of those. Like if you look in here, right, clicking and highlighting the right parts that we want to extrude or not extrude is kind of easier to do with a mouse when you can zoom in. It's not as easy on an iPad. And again, we're just learning and practicing these tools. So I'm going to keep it simple and just do 3 here. And I'm going to tap, and we're going to call that good. Okay. So again, if yours isn't exactly like mine, that's fine. The next step here is we're going to extrude. And there we go. So you can see it has highlighted these things. Now, I am not going to mess around with these triangles here. I did this, like I said, this is the 4th or 5th time I've made this piece. So I'm going to call it good here. If you want to tempt the fates, you can go mess with that, but I'm going to leave it. You can see, and I deleted some of them, like we're on my 3rd copy of this here. So, yeah, it's been a lot of frustration, and that is part of design, right? Going back and fixing things. The undo button here is your friend, right? This undo button saved me many times. Sometimes you get stuck in a spot where you can't undo something and you have to start over. Again, that's just kind of the harsh reality of life sometimes. So, okay, next up, we're going to do a few more things here. So I'm going to say if you want to get a 3, go ahead and turn this in. If you want to get a 4, this video is going to go on a few minutes longer to do a few more really cool features that will be useful if you ever want to make more complex things. So we've got this 3D shape here, and the thickness of this doesn't matter. So I'm going to go back to my top view here. And the next tool we're going to use, oh, sorry, I got to make a sketch here. So I'm going to sketch on this. So you can see I've made a sketch plane on top here. So the next tool we're going to use is the Use tool. All right, so it's this. So the Use tool takes something you already made and uses it again. So you can see I've got my Use tool selected up here. And I'm going to click on or tap on the 5 edges of this pentagon. And it also wants to do this one here. And then this one up here. And you see I'm getting the top edges of this. So I've got the 5 edges selected on those 3 things. Okay. So what you'll hear this called in other 3D modeling tools maybe is projecting. Like it's taking that shape and like a projector just takes an image and projects it on a wall. It takes those shapes that already exist and projects it onto Sketch 2. Okay, so now I've got those, right? That is part of my sketch, and I didn't tap away. Let me turn the tool off to make sure. Yep, so I got my 5 lines there. So next, we're going to use the offset tool. So I'm going to highlight those 5 lines that I just made. And I think, nope. Okay, it's got mad at me. I can only do one at a time here. So I'm gonna unhighlight that. So I just want to tap those 5. And we can copy that that shape, right? So I'm going to make this dimension. Oh, and so once I've done that, I should be able to grab my dimension tool. Oh, it automatically goes to the dimension tool because it knows after I've done the offset, it wants to know how far it offsets. There we go, 0.05. Okay, so let's use that tool again, offset. I'm gonna highlight my 5 sides here. And so it just duplicates that, right? You can see you can make it smaller, bigger. So we're going to tap there. It's going to ask again, 0.05. And we'll do it one more time here. I just checked. I still have it highlighted, so I don't need to even go find it again. Oops. I didn't get them all. All right. Like I said, that undo button is your friend. Highlight my offset tool again. All right. 0.05. Okay, and now we're going to extrude. Oh, look at that. It knew what I wanted. It picked those for me. So it extruded those 3 things. And you can see I chose some dimensions a little bit different than they did here. We're going to call that good. You can go through, and if you want this to look nice, they have, you can tell, filleted up some of the corners here. So feel free to, fillets are in our 3D modeling tool. When I extruded that further than I wanted to, but oh boy. There we go. You can see how if you grab some of these corners, it will smooth it out like it looks like in theirs here. I'm going to leave that one like that and just do the outsides. And you can see on the next one here, I'm going to grab my fillet tool and do these. You can see what it looks like if I also fillet the inside lines. And you can play around with this. If you're interested in how these tools work and want to get creative, go ahead and play around with it some. If you just want to get the assignment done, don't stress it. Again, we're practicing tools, we're experimenting, we're learning. So that's what we're looking for if you want to get a 4 on this assignment. And next time, Mr. Q is going to walk us through making this part that would hold these screwdriver bits. So thanks for listening and good luck with this stuff here.